Okay, let's unpack this. So this deep dive, it's really about getting into that core conflict,
Hmm.
between just staying comfortable and actually choosing the path to becoming,
Yeah.
well, truly capable.
Right. Stepping into the arena, as they say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And becoming that single reliable pillar, the one everyone kind of looks for when times get genuinely hard.
Yeah.
So our mission today is really to extract that mindset,
Yeah.
that uncompromising way of thinking you need to face reality, like head on.
And to embrace the tough parts, the miserable stuff even.
Yeah, the grind to
Yeah.
ultimately become the guy,
Yeah.
the one who can actually carry the load. And we're not talking about your standard feel-good motivation here.
No, this is more like personal confrontation. Applied psychology meets personal philosophy almost.
And the sources we're looking at, they treat self-improvement as this really high-stakes thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What's really fascinating here is the absolute clarity on this idea of self-creation. It's powerful.
Yeah, how so?
Well, the material really challenges you directly on your identity. It basically says, look, you weren't born with your current limits, your insecurities, your fears.
You mean we create them?
You made them. That's the point. Through habits, choices, maybe inaction. So this journey, this deep dive, it isn't really about finding yourself. It's more about unburying yourself from that fetal position you kind of built around yourself.
Wow. Okay, so it starts with brutal honesty.
Total honesty about who you are right now, because that self-assessment, that's the only real blueprint you've got for the person you're going to build.
Okay, so starting from that honest baseline, here's where it gets really interesting. Because the sources, they take this really counterintuitive angle on like initial advantage. We naturally tend to fixate on what we don't have, right? When we're starting out. No money, no big network, no expertise yet.
The classic list of disadvantages.
Exactly. And most people see that lack as a reason to be super cautious, or maybe even just quit before they start.
Makes sense from a certain perspective.
But the surprising insight here is that this exact situation, having nothing, means you have nothing to lose. And this zero-risk baseline makes you, and this is a quote, incredibly dangerous.
Right. Let's break that down psychologically. People who have acquired things, money, status, security, they have to be careful, selective.
They've got something to protect.
Precisely. They deal with decision paralysis because losing hurts more. But if you're starting with nothing...
Your worst-case scenario is just where you already are.
Exactly. Your current baseline is failure, effectively. So any action you take, even if it's a massive failure, it just brings you back to the start. You can take unlimited shots on goal, essentially.
That's a powerful reframe. But how do you activate that freedom?
Okay, this is crucial. That freedom is only unlocked when you accept full accountability, complete ownership.
Accountability for what? Exactly.
Everything. The material really emphasizes this. The most important internal conversation you can possibly have is realizing that everything in your life right now, the environment you're in, the quality of your relationships, your financial situation, it's fundamentally your fault.
That sounds harsh, like blaming yourself.
But see, it's meant as liberation, not condemnation. That distinction is so important.
Okay, explain that difference.
You're not accepting blame for, say, external events you can't control, a recession hits, whatever. You're accepting responsibility for your response to those events and for the results you've produced in your life up to this point.
Got it. Responsibility for my actions and outcomes, not necessarily for the whole world.
Precisely. Because if it's entirely your fault, meaning arising from your choices and actions, then it's also completely under your control to change. You simply cannot change what you don't control.
Right. So accepting fault means accepting control.
Yes. And that's the mechanism. That's where self-pity just instantly dies and action begins. You stop looking outside for saviors or sympathy. You become the source of change yourself.
So it forces you inward.
It forces you to look inward and ask, okay, what small corner of my life am I going to accept total control over starting today? Because that's the only way to turn that dangerous potential of having nothing to lose into actual meaningful power.
Okay, so if accountability is the engine that shifts the mindset,
Yeah.
we still need fuel, right?
Yeah.
Where does the drive come from?
Good question. We're often told, find your passion, chase that thing.
Which sounds great, but it can feel a bit vague. Hard to grasp sometimes.
Exactly. Amorphous, distant. But these sources argue something different. They say all the energy, all the drive you could possibly need, it isn't hiding out there somewhere. It's already in you right now, waiting.
Okay, so where is it if it's not passion?
Well, this is the really counterintuitive part.
Yeah.
The source of drive they point to is stuff we usually consider negative. Your insecurities, your fear, your self-doubt.
Wait, so the bad stuff is the fuel. How does that work?
You have to be willing to do this kind of brutal internal audit, to, as they put it, dive deep into this whole stack of ugly, uncomfortable truths about yourself. That's where the power is hidden.
So instead of hiding from flaws, you use them.
Yes. Think about the energy you spend hiding those things, worrying about them. You redirect that energy. You turn it into motivation. You weaponize the negative.
That brings up a big question, though. How do you actually process suffering or insecurity like that? Turn it into something positive.
Right. It's like an alchemy of suffering. The material talks about two fundamental forms of pain. There's the pain that just breaks you down, crushes you.
The destructive kind?
Yeah. But then there's the pain that changes you, the constructive kind. They call this the pain of progress.
The pain of progress. I like that.
It implies that real self-knowledge, profound change, you don't find that stuff in comfort zones. It's only found by enduring that constructive pain, that struggle.
So on the other side of that struggle,
On the other end of that process, that's where you find this beautiful new world, where you actually find the person you were capable of becoming all along. That's why facing those insecurities works. You're essentially building a fire using the very things you hate about your current self.
so it provides this immediate, almost visceral energy. It's not about some far-off goal necessarily.
It's about the immediate, intense desire not to be that person anymore. Right now, today.
That makes sense. It's very present-focused.
Yes. And that's also why you can never, ever win your war by running away from your battles. Reality doesn't go away. It'll always be waiting right there when you finally stop running.
You have to face it.
You have to face the uncomfortable truth that maybe you're not doing what's necessary. And sometimes, honestly, the only motivation strong enough to generate that kind of intensity needs to be really simple, primal almost.
Like what?
Like the drive to be different simply because, quote, no one else wants to do it. That desire to separate yourself through sheer effort, that difference becomes the core of the fuel.
Okay, so you've got accountability as the engine, insecurity is the fuel.
Yeah.
But what about consistency? Intensity is great, but it needs duration.
Right.
Like a flash fire doesn't build anything lasting.
Absolutely critical point. And this ties into the modern paradox.
Which is?
Well, think about it. Today, it has literally never been easier to start a business, learn a new skill, get in shape. The tools, the information, it's everywhere, accessible.
True. YouTube, online courses, apps.
But at the exact same time, it has also never been easier to do nothing. Distraction is constant. Comfort is cheap. Passive consumption is the default.
So the paradox is ease of action versus ease of inaction.
Exactly. And what that means is that merely doing something consistently, actually following through day after day, that act itself becomes genuinely extraordinary in this environment.
Just showing up and doing the work is remarkable now.
It really is. But that effort, that consistency, it comes at a cost. And the sources are very clear about defining the price for real change.
Okay, what's the price?
You have to be willing to trade the things you love right now. Things like immediate comfort, effortless downtime, easy hours scrolling, whatever your current comforts are. You trade those for the things you want later.
So delayed gratification on steroids.
Pretty much. And that price is fixed. You can't haggle. You can't wish away the time it's going to take. You can't wish away the inevitable failures along the path or the risk involved in actually striving for something meaningful. You just have to pay it.
No shortcuts.
No shortcuts.
Yeah.
And this demands absolute resolve. What really stands out here is the need for unwavering commitment. We can use this analogy they mention. Choosing to open a door in life.
Okay, like a new career, a big goal.
Yeah, a massive career shift, committing to a really difficult goal, maybe even deep personal transformation. If you decide to commit, if you decide to open that door, you cannot just crack it open and peek inside.
Why not? What's wrong with peeking?
Because peeking lets the doubt creep in. It lets the fear paralyze you. It lets the old comforts call you back. No, if you commit, you have to open the thing door and go in hard, all in. No looking back.
That's intense. Full commitment.
It has to be. And this kind of extreme commitment, it means you absolutely have to shield yourself from what they call the idea killers.
Idea killers? Who are they?
The sources warn really strongly against living your life based on what other people expect or want for you. Family, spouses, friends, or just that general vague they,
Right.
What will they think?
The pressure of external opinions.
Exactly. You have to learn to listen primarily to your own inner conviction, your own internal compass.
Okay, but practically speaking, why is that external input? Why are they so toxic to ambition? What's the mechanism there?
It's often because Well, they are typically losing in their own lives, or at least they're comfortable with not striving. They're settled.
Misery loves company.
That's a big part of it. Your change, your ambition, it often highlights their stagnation, and that makes them uncomfortable. Consciously or subconsciously, they might want you to stay put or even fail so they can feel justified in their own inaction.
Wow. So they pull you back down.
It can happen. So if you're going to make that commitment, you need to lean into being...
Well, the term used is unwavering, totally resolute. Because look, people are going to judge you no matter what you do. If you succeed, if you fail, if you do nothing.
True. Judgment is unavoidable.
So given that, you might as well focus all your energy on telling and living your unique story.
Yeah.
Because that story, your authentic path, that's your unique gift to the world. Don't let them edit it.
That focus on your own story, your own path, that carries us right into the long game, doesn't it? The infamous grind.
The grind moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Where the initial excitement fades.
Right. Because real success, lasting success, it's built on that relentless consistency.
Yeah.
Discipline over months, years, not just a few weeks of enthusiasm. It's absolutely not about winning immediately. Often it's about just staying in the battle, staying engaged, planting your feet, even when you feel like you're getting beaten up, like you're losing ground.
There's almost a spiritual element to that kind of consistency, isn't there? Especially if you look at it through the lens of, like, legacy.
How do you mean?
Well, think about the power of a multi-generational grind. That idea of taking the family name from, sleeping on the dirt, metaphorically speaking, all the way to some final destination of real accomplishment and security over generations.
Ah, I see. Building something beyond yourself.
Yeah. But the crucial shift in mindset for the individual doing the grinding now seems to be this. You absolutely must learn to love the process itself.
Love the grind.
Love the dirt, love the grind moment, maybe even more than you love the idea of the financial results or the applause at the end.
Why is that so important?
Because if you only love the result, the destination, then the entire journey, the grind itself, is just going to feel like constant angst, constant suffering until you get there. You'll burn out.
That makes sense. Fall in love with the daily effort.
Fall in love with the effort.
Yeah.
And you need to balance that dedication with grace.
Yes, grace towards yourself.
Yeah.
You have to achieve this kind of radical self-awareness first. Know yourself completely. See all your own warts, your internal negatives, maybe even more clearly than anyone else does. No illusions.
Okay, so total self-honesty again.
But then, and this is key, once you've seen that person clearly, flaws and all, you still have to give yourself the same grace, the same understanding that you would give a struggling friend. You wouldn't constantly beat up a friend who's trying, would you?
No, you'd encourage them, point out the progress.
Exactly. So do that for yourself. Because the ultimate victory, according to these ideas, isn't really the money or the status. It's reaching that point where you can look yourself squarely in the mirror and genuinely say, you know what? I like me.
Despite the flaws, because of the effort.
Because of the effort, because of the journey, because of who you're becoming. And this ties into something called the dark room analogy.
In the dark room.
It refers to that period of intense, often isolated deep work, where you're really uncomfortable, you're pushing your limits, the old identity is being completely overhauled. It's in that metaphorical dark room that you have to, quote, create another human being, a new version of yourself that walks out transformed.
So you go into the dark room, one person, and come out another.
That's the idea. And once you step out of that room, once you've gone through that transformation...
How does that level of commitment, that new self, change your actual daily life?
It changes absolutely everything. Because once you truly believe, based on the hard evidence of your own actions and results, that you can genuinely do anything you set your mind to, well, then how you spend your time. It stops being just about productivity. It becomes a spiritual consideration.
Spiritual. How so?
It's the highest possible level of accountability. Because every wasted minute, every half-hearted effort feels like a betrayal of the potential you know you possess. You owe it to yourself, to that potential, to use your time deliberately.
That's a heavy responsibility.
It is. But there's one final, really critical warning that comes at this stage.
Okay, what's the catch?
The moment you reach that point where you feel like you've finally arrived, where you feel satisfied, content, happy with your accomplishments, that's precisely when you need to be truly afraid.
Afraid? Why afraid when you're happy and successful?
Because the sources strongly suggest that satisfaction, that feeling of arrival, is precisely when you start to slowly die. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
You mean stagnate?
Exactly. The moment you stop striving, stop adapting, stop demanding more from yourself, you begin to lose your edge. You plateau, and then you decline. The struggle, the growth, it must always continue in some form. Complacency is the enemy.
Wow. So the journey never really ends.
The nature of the challenge might change, but the need for effort and growth doesn't.
Okay, so let's bring this all together. What does this really mean for you, the listener, trying to navigate all this?
Well, I think it means the secret to becoming that pillar, that person of real unbreakable resolve. It's not about achieving some state of perfection.
It's not about being flawless.
Not at all. It's about continuous engagement. It's about consistency. It's about fighting every single day for something you know deep down is possible for you.
Just being better today than you were yesterday.
That's the core of it. Fueled by that radical accountability, and maybe even fueled by embracing the pain of progress, not running from it.
And the final thought from the sources. What should we really be afraid of?
Yeah, the challenge is to fear the right thing. We often fear failure or hardship or discomfort.
The pain of the effort.
Right, the physical pain of effort, the sweat, the sacrifice of time. But that pain is temporary. And crucially, it yields results. It builds something.
So what's a real fear?
The real burden, the greatest disappointment you can carry through life isn't that temporary pain. It's the life that's shackled by regret.
Regret for what?
The regret of having the ability, having the key in your hand, the potential to turn the key and start the engine, but being too weak or too afraid or just too comfortable and complacent to actually do it. That unfulfilled potential, that is the true contamination of a life.
That's powerful. The ghost of what could have been.
Exactly. You have immense potential inside you right now. The sources say it's like it's crying to come outside, waiting to be born. And if you never give it birth, if you let it wither inside you, it will haunt you.
So the final prompt for everyone listening.
Yeah, maybe just consider this. What specific potential inside you is crying out today? What capability, what goal, what version of you is waiting? And then ask yourself, are you brave enough now to accept that full accountability, to finally open that door and to go in hard?